Hey everyone, hope everyone's having a great afternoon. Today is Monday, April 22nd, 2013. Let's get right into it, guys. Thanks for checking out the video. Thanks for checking out my channel, guys. Always much appreciated. Let's start with the SPY like we normally do. Okay, I did call for this pivot here, and we are sure enough getting that bounce. Okay, it does seem like we want to form this right shoulder. As long as the price does not take out this high on a close, we still have this pattern in play. So same outlook from right here, guys. I think that we are prone for a pullback, and it will confirm that if we break this neckline. But there is short-term support, this gap fill. So if I were just to make a forecast, if this was to come to fruition, it would probably break it, find support, consolidate here, retest the neckline, and that's the ideal scenario you would like to see, because there's support just right below the neckline, so it's just not going to flush through. So that's actually a great opportunity if you want to go short, because actually it would make a nice pattern into support, get a very sideways bounce into a retest of neckline, and you could take that position short. And the reason why that would be an optimal setup, because your stop out would be very close. Any close back above the neckline, you would just get out of that trade. But that's just looking further ahead right now. We did get a nice minor little nice up day actually. Pretty good percent, pretty good move on the SPY today. Let's look intraday actually then, because usually don't break it out intraday since the market is closed, but let's go over it. Very interesting. We had a somewhat of a cup and handle here. Broke out this morning on a gap up, and this is a very good lesson here. This is the reason why this gap and failed, because even though it did advance higher later in the day. But if you look at the 200-day moving average, the first hit, it's kind of getting ahead of itself. See how it kind of poked its head through, and you may wonder, okay, why, if this is resistance, this 200, see this red line, guys, that's the resistance, the 200 moving average. You're thinking, okay, why is it piercing through, and why is it doing that? Okay, the reason why price likes to pierce moving averages is there's always another resistance level that's close by on a bigger time frame, and that's, as traders, you have to find what that resistance is. Okay, so on the next bigger time frame, I like to go on the hour chart. Okay, let's see where price bumped its head. Perfect hit of the 200 on a 60-minute chart. Okay, so see, now you have a declining 200 on a 10-minute, and you also have a flat 200 moving average on the hour chart, and that's why it pierced that 200 on a 10-minute chart, because the bigger time frame always holds more precedent. Okay, it's more dominant, the bigger time frames. Okay, and that's why you got that gap up right into resistance and pulled back in the morning, and then kind of just faded up for the rest of the day. But beautiful action there on the SPY. First resistance is going to be lower gap fill, which we already kind of hit already, and here's a gap fill. This is where I kind of anticipate for it to stall out right here, this pivot high and gap fill. And if this, if you kind of just measure this rounded bottom, even though it kind of broke out and failed, closed back below, if you do measure that out, it does come up to this double tops. Okay, so it's amazing how these charts line up, guys. Just learning charts is just the most amazing thing, guys. If you guys just take time to learn this stuff. And guess what? We are actually, I drew this, I drew this right shoulder a few days ago, last week, and sure enough, it's riding it right now. So, and it does line up kind of with this, double top here, pivot breakdown actually. So let's see if that comes to fruition. Maybe we'll get that tomorrow. But we are into resistance as well, right into this kind of death cross here. So let's see how it all plays out. I would anticipate for it to stall out here, kind of, guys, because what I'm seeing on the charts, and that would come into play with that right shoulder that's forming. Okay, let's go to the next chart. Let's go at Apple. I actually did some Apple plays today. I sold some puts on it. It's a little risky because there are earnings. They are reporting earnings tomorrow after the bell. But I'm actually looking at, like I said, guys, I'm looking to perhaps own the stock. So I just try to get a little exposure if it does fall. And I am ready if it does fall below 350 to actually pick it up in these levels. But right now I did sell the 350 put. Okay, I sold some of those. Just a small position, just so I could collect a little premium at the same time. If it does fall, I am going to be in. Just kind of dipping my feet in the water just slightly. Nothing crazy, okay, guys. But I am looking to start to accumulate this thing after just watching this fall, playing it on a short-term basis. Looking maybe to probably pick it up on the longer term. Because if you look at the macro charts, what I mean by that, I mean the bigger time frames. The weekly chart, you're coming to the 200 moving average On the monthly chart, I'm beginning over this quite a bit now. On the monthly chart, you have the 50-month moving average. I believe back in October of 2011, that's when Steve Jobs passed away. So that's kind of like you're going back to the scene of the crime, and you're kind of revisiting that spot in history. And that's kind of how I see people and price actions, kind of same idea. And so I right around that 360, 350, 370 area. That's when Steve Jobs passed away, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's right around this area. And it's also great support on the chart. If you go back, let me go on a 2-day chart. I don't go on 2-day charts, but just so I can go back a little further in time. You can see that that's a breakout area, and I drew that line in right here. See how it consolidated very long at that level, banged its head on it, broke above it. Now it was resistance, now acting as support over here until finally breaking out in 2012. And now we're finally revisiting that spot on the chart. So that's going to be a very intriguing spot, guys. I think if we want to take a stab at it with conviction, to own the stock, 350 is a way to start nibbling. That's where you want to start nibbling, because it's ridiculous trying to find a bottom on a stock. But this is where you can start nibbling on the stock, all the way down to 320 with the 618 retrace, and ultimately you have to look at these next levels at the fib retrace, the 75% retrace. But that's why you want to just kind of nibble in. Don't go all in at once. That could be very disastrous. Okay, you don't want to be bag holding this all the way down to $200. Okay, not that I'm saying Apple's going to $200. I'm just saying you just don't want to put yourself in that situation. Look, imagine all these guys that were buying up here and still holding it. That's just a lot of pain. You just don't want to put yourself through all of that, right? Okay, let's go to the next chart. I think. Actually, let's go over Apple on an intraday basis. The reason why I sold it, it looks good right now on the pattern that I made intraday. So I'll give it a try, even though earnings is going to be the wild card. I might just cover before earnings because I collected a big chunk of the premium already. So I was looking for a nice breakout, and that's exactly what we got. I got in right here. You see the uptrend, kind of small uptrend that's forming after a big downtrend here. You start to consolidate sideways. Moving averages are starting to flatten out, curl around. And that's a good sign that the stock might turn around in the short term, very short term, just kind of intraday play. But I will look to take profits if I'll probably take a little bit of profits away from those puts that I sold, just to eliminate some risk and just put some money in my pocket. Okay, there's nothing wrong with taking profits, guys. Right off this down channel, once it broke it, I knew that this is a good chance this might break out of this pattern with the moving averages starting to kind of start separating above, and we stalled out right at the 200. So, and also the hour chart, guys, 60-minute chart. See, that's why I always say you got to put all these time frames together. Nice flag right there. You can see the diamond pattern, the triangular pattern as well on top of moving averages, and boom, there's the move right there. Okay, let's go to the next chart really quick, guys. Let's look at IBM falling from the heavens. Just an epic fall. It's just totally getting decimated. Let's look on a daily chart. We did confirm below the 200 moving average on a daily chart. Okay, so this stock is in some deep doo-doo right now. Okay, guys, will not be touching it. And it broke this trend line. You don't want to be a hero here. You just want to watch and just find the right setups. Don't get me wrong, we are in the support, but this is just not the right time to get in. I would look on a more macro time frame, the weekly chart. I think your spot is after this huge run up. If you take a fib from the lows right here, which I believe was in November of 2008, so that's a huge run up since then. Okay, guys. And if you want to look into getting the stock, you probably want to look at the 200-week moving average frame because you're still below a rising 200. So if it falls right into that, which would be a really extreme drop, but that's where you want to look. That's where you want to be interested. Okay, see how you line up 382 retrace. You look at these pivots, 200 moving average, straight drop into there. Ooh, that's a buy of the century. That's a pretty good buy right there. Let's see the monthly chart. If there's anything else, and sure enough, I just love when these charts line up. Yeah, I'm just looking at this, guys, right now. I just took a glance at it earlier. I saw it looked pretty good to share the idea. This is how you find good stuff. See, just one more additional candle on a monthly chart. If it does start to go crazy, that would be a nice setup right there. And this looks like also on a bigger time frame. You can make a case that's kind of like a triple top right here. If you measure the move down, it does look like it would come to this exit right here at this spot. This juncture. It might want to tag this 150, 160 area, but that's just looking out right now. I'm not sure what's going to happen. It has to break this trend line first, so we're just going to see how that all plays out. Let's just look at the daily chart and see if it actually, you can see a triple kind of a triple top. Yeah, you can kind of see that right here. So if that kind of breaks, you can make a case that that measured move would take you to that level with a 382 retrace. Let's look at really quick some of these other indexes. The IWM, I believe I called potential head and shoulder pattern, but I said it was going to bounce because the SPY was going to make a right shoulder, and that's exactly what happened. And we are back testing that neckline or trend line, however you want to. It's crazy how you make a trend line, you draw it across, and the next time you look at it, it pauses right at that. But I think it has a chance to get through it. I mean, there's not much resistance that I'm seeing right now that could pause the stock. So it may want to get all the way up to this death cross right here. So that would be actually a pretty good pattern to get into if it kind of slowly. So just picture this: if it kind of slowly goes sideways into this moving averages here, that'd be a good setup. Those are the kind of patterns you want to look for. Let's look at the Qs. I believe the Qs bounced off the daily 200 moving average, and I also called that as well on my last two videos. The 200 should be support, and that's what we are getting. Is there anything else we want to take a look at? Amazon, I believe, reports earnings this week as well. Not much going there, just a long consolidation pattern there. It's building energy to move in one way or the other. Okay, so we'll see how that plays out. Anything quick I want to look at? GLD, gold. I knew I wanted to look at something. Gold. I gotta start writing these down. I can't always just remember these in my head, huh? Okay, we did close it back above this red bar, so that's the first obstacle to get through, and it seems like it did that. But it, this gap really didn't come to fruition. It didn't really go for the gap fill, which I'm not surprised because of the weakness right now. It's making a bearish pattern right now. But I did call on the bigger time frame that it is going to be a short-term bottom because of this hammer candle, and we did close back above it. So that usually indicates higher prices, okay? But then you have to look at other factors, okay? That's candle patterns. You don't never just trade off a candle pattern, okay? Everyone gets caught up with candle patterns. I know they're great, but you have to line it up with moving averages, Fibonacci, time frames. You got to line it up with everything. So right now you have 200 right now, so that's going to be short-term resistance, but you never confirm below it, so it could get through it, no problem. You always have to find all the bullish scenarios and all the bearish scenarios, okay, guys, and then take the best risk reward setups. Right now, I did call that you could probably sell puts below 130, anywhere to 127. There's a little bit of premium if you want to just make some safe money and just use these as your, stop outs. This low or this low. Or a lot of people like to play 50% retraces of these candles as well. So that could be, if that doesn't hold, you can look for that as a exit strategy. But right now, gold looks like it needs a short-term bounce, but ultimately it does look like it's going to go lower to the 120, and that's where I think that's a more macro support that you could look to own this. Okay, guys, but epic fall in gold. Is there anything else I want to look at before I take off on this fine Monday afternoon? See. I think that's pretty good, guys. I think I'm going to take off, guys. If you guys like these videos, I'll keep them coming, and you guys subscribe, and I will eventually, I guess you guys will eventually learn all my secrets, huh? All right, guys. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day.